Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Thailand. So we've got the sun behind us, so I'll just move over here a little bit. Glorious sunny day here in Thailand. But yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, what's happened at the moment, for instance, the last couple, especially today. Yesterday, kind of, but today definitely was the fact that the sun and the warmth has come back. So where before, for instance, it was quite it was okay, but it was quite cool. Right now, for instance, it's kind of boiling. It's kind of hot. Me personally, I adore the heat and I've enjoyed it, and I never moan about the heat. But it's really caught up on me today and quite a few people. So, for instance, when I went out for my a run, which I haven't done for a few days, and the reason why is because I got injured. I don't know if you can see that there. Okay, so for instance, it's so simple, so easy to do. For instance, over here, for instance, you really got to take care, especially riding your bikes. When I see people riding bikes in the budgie smugglers, no protection whatsoever, just a pair of sunglasses and a budgie smugglers, it's absolutely ludicrous. The roads over here are dangerous. It's the most dangerous, one of the most dangerous road using in the world, and people just ride them in Thailand. Absolutely, men just, I wouldn't say men because men don't do stupid things like that. I'm sorry, but yeah, for instance, I can't believe especially what I saw this morning, etc. Yeah, I can normally run every second day. For instance, the running twice. I go run for about 20-25 kilometers. I run down to the beach area, down second row, first row, but I'll go all the way around, and then I end up on the beach. And I go onto the beach road, onto the beach, for instance, and I run on the sand because it's good resistance. And actually, for instance, then I go for a swim, half kilometers easy swim. And I, for instance, come back, then run onto the beach, back onto the road, to the beach road, and then run up to now Jomchen, where I basically, for instance, go for do an hour's yoga. So, for instance, and then I run home. So yeah, and so but because I've had an accident, I also did this as well. For instance, I hadn't done it for a few days. So yeah, and doing it today, for instance, especially in the heat, for instance, it was a real bit of a killer. But I managed to do it. You know, for instance, I'm quite fit. You know, compared to what I was when I first came here. So yeah, but it's been quite tough. It was quite tough. Yeah. What's it called? It just scraped. Again, what's happened is, like for instance, there's so many uneven surfaces over here. For instance, and you've really got to keep your eyes out for it. And even if you're looking, so for instance, you really got to keep your eyes out. And what's happened is, for instance, for instance, started taking up Jomchen just like they did in Pattaya Beach Road, the pavements, and what's it called? They do the entire section, and they make it so difficult. For instance, and it's only one person going across, and now it's a tourist, etc. So, for instance, and what I do is basically I what's it called, the road, which is the problem with it's scary. You can't go with the flow, and you know, but one with Brook or coach or whatever, just got to go for it. For instance, just etc. And uh, yeah. Anyway, so what's happened is basically, for instance, for instance, there was I went onto the road and there was a pavement, a drain, and it would inch up to a couple of centimeters up, and I basically, for instance, over and yeah, so I cut myself quite badly, and I cut myself quite badly a few times. For instance, I said my arms and my leg. But I'm okay. For instance, I continue still do my run, still do my yoga. For instance, I got back, but it's one of these days where they scrapes, and a few days later, and yeah. So I didn't do it yesterday because we had a double wedding yesterday. For instance, and they also had housewarming because they built a new house, etc. And they had all the Buddha, all the monks out here, and they had a big party, which was great. And there was also a birthday party, and so thing, yeah, yeah. So, but again, so I'm determined to go today. So I did it today. I did what I needed to do. I've also been to the supermarket, so Talad, which is the market, and for instance, with that. And the only problem was for instance, it just kind of, it's kind of taking out me a little bit, so I'm a little bit tired. I've also got a bit of I want to say cold. My nose started dripping, and for instance, my eyes started getting itchy. It could be something to do with the fact I've been watching football at 3 o'clock in the morning. I've got to do again today. This is because people and again the review, what's it called, the preview of the game tonight. I'll just hold the camera a bit further away from me because yeah, got a bit too much sun. Well, I'm just looking a bit old. Yeah, so I was watching the Liverpool. Okay, yeah, and it was good. For instance, it was good for City anyway, without a shadow of a doubt. It was brilliant for City. So I'm delighted for City, for City in the game. So absolutely, it was. I was expecting more. Minimum, hopefully minimum we're going to get a draw out of it. I wanted an Arsenal win because it really puts the cat amongst the pigeons. But I was looking at LB's challenge, and I was thinking, this is Liverpool. Liverpool in a bit of decent form. Arsenal can get maybe a 1-1, something like that. But Arsenal, Liverpool played garbage, for instance, and I'm sorry, but they did. Any of you Liverpool fan, well, I'm sorry, but you did, especially in the first half. You got a bit better in the second half, and so you weren't that great at all. So playing going over. Uh, so for the uh, for the um, for the result, and so it was absolutely superb. So really cat amongst the pins, and it was great. All we need was do what we normally do. Win our game, for instance, and go on this run. Okay, I don't think a run is foremost conclusion, but I think, for instance, I think the momentum is definitely back with City. So, for instance, I'm really looking forward to the game, even though it's another 3 a.m. kickoff, which 8 p.m. UK time, 3 a.m. It's a really killer because then by the time it finishes around about 5 o'clock, 5 a.m. for instance, and then of course you're in Thailand, etc. So everybody starts waking up around 6 a.m. So for instance, you have the motorbikes, and also the missus is going back to work next week, tomorrow, so she'll be up at 6 o'clock. So yeah, absolutely. So you kind of, and even though she's going to work and I can get a bit of an hour afterwards, you never really do that, especially over here because of the noise of cock-a-doodle-doo and cat and dog and God knows what, for instance, so it can be quite, for instance, it's oh my God, and you never really get peace. Anyway, so for instance, there's lovely Thai Army. Anyway, so let's have a talk about the game. So, Man City play against Brentford, and we had a bad time with Brentford last season. For instance, we lost 2 games. We lost the last game before the before the World Cup, and I think the players maybe had their eyes on something else. And Ivan Toney was, we didn't know much about him, etc. And for instance, he shone at the Etihad, and then the return leg. I think that was a nonsense game because, for instance, we already won the league, and the players we were playing a weakened side. So I'm not giving up. For instance, media, for instance, Brentford did over City last season, but I can this season. For instance, they've had a bad time about it, and yes, okay, they've lost Ivan Toney now. Mr. Move the ball 5 yards. For instance, and he's back. I don't think he's removable at all for doing what he's done, which is stupid. And come back, and yes, but I don't think Brentford are the team they were last season. So I'm quite confident that, for instance, City will get the W. The win. So, for instance, it's going to be a tough game. No such thing. No is in the is in the Premier League is easy. You know, even if you're Sheffield United, you still go out and got to go and do the business. And yeah, so for instance, yeah, so it was. I'm kind of. Yeah, so for instance, I do feel that we'll get the win. But again, I'm not going to predict. I don't like to predict. I'm gonna, for instance, but I'm gonna say that we'll get a comfortable win. We've got all our players back now. We're doing a full strength squad now, which is brilliant. For instance, it's just what you needed. And even though we've got Erling Haaland and sorry, flies, can't stand the damn things. You know, I can take anything. I've lived in many, many countries and whatever. For instance, in hot climates as well. For instance, I had zero problem with mosquitoes and ants and goddamn ginjuks and God knows what over here and things like that. And you've got alligators, but flies just get on my nerves. They're just a house wherever you go. And for instance, just, yeah. Anyway, so um, so he's got a full strength squad, which is brilliant. I've also got Erling Haaland. And the nonsense. That nonsense about Erling Haaland. Oh, he wants to leave Man City. No, he does not. One crappy media outlet mentions this. The rag media pull on, for instance, the red media just jump on the back of it and Erling's unhappy. Erling's unhappy because he's not playing. That's it. Other than that, for instance, I would bet my bottom dollar, for instance, he will. My last tie bar, for instance, he will stay with City for a good few seasons yet. No, but I've seen his commitment. He just, as a guy, for instance, wears his heart on his sleeve, and you can see him, for instance, in the way he talks to the players, and you can see him in the pre-trainings. You can see him how he talks. Yeah, he's happy and all this nonsense, but he doesn't like the weather in Manchester. Well, no, who does? But I'm going to have a little here, for instance, not weather, because I'm sick and tired of listening to the nonsense. Listen, should be rather playing if in the cold or in the rain, Manchester at 10 degrees, or go play in 36 degrees. In Saudi Arabia or in somewhere hot. Okay, because quite honestly, for instance, top players do want to play at, when it's hot because it's it establishes your performances and everything. So don't give me this nonsense. They would rather play in 10 degrees in rain, for instance, or whatever, for instance, rather than 30, 40 degrees, which is what they're playing in Saudi Arabia, for instance. And yeah, so don't give me this nonsense about the Manchester weather. The weather is perfect for football. It may not be perfect for viewing it, maybe not, whatever, we're undercover, but you never know be perfect for living in it, okay? But it's perfect for football, for instance. And he's got a house in Spain, so for instance, and God, these guys live in a different world in us, etc. So sorry, if he wants to go off to Spain, etc., he can just fly off, just take a private jet like Rashford when he went to Damn Island, so for instance, Northern Ireland for a couple of days. But yeah, so don't give me this nonsense about the weather in Manchester. It's just a place where you play football, okay? Or for instance, in the northwest of England, etc., or in England. But it wasn't about half the time you play. For instance, you live uh, in your five-star mansion where you probably won't even you've got everything what you require, for instance, for a bit of sun, for instance, or you can, as soon as you get a couple of days, you can just jump off it on a plane and be in, God knows, in Spain within a few hours. So don't give me this nonsense about the weather in Manchester. So I'm not having that at all. It's weird how, for instance, people talk about the weather becomes an issue when it was Manchester City, but it was never an issue when it's Liverpool, or it's never an issue when it's United. It's only an issue when it's Manchester City. So yeah, so I'm not having that. I'm not listening to the rag media, and but no, and also, for instance, if you're just one person, for God's sake, come on, and just just bad reporting and asking Pep. I really do not like the press conferences because they are absolutely nonsense. And just do it what's it called, for looking for a scoop, and you don't care, and do you think John Stones, from what was it, about John Stones? Do you think John Stones is happy as City like he was last season? Oh, God's sake, yeah. So come on, ask some. press. It's gonna be a lovely sunset. Maybe just move over here. Yeah. So, for instance, yeah. Overall, for instance, it was a great. Uh, yeah, we're going into the Brentford in um, college, which is so we're on a unbeaten run now. For instance, so I don't care who we played before, and it was in the Super Cup and blah blah blah. You still got to win your damn game. We've done that. So, and we're going in with a confident squad. For instance, full of fit players. The squad will be. He's, I think he'll keep the same squad. For instance, yeah. So I bet my bottom dollar, my last part. For instance, he will do that. For instance, rather than making wholesale changes for Brentford, but it's good enough. The squad is good enough. So yeah, I'm happy with that. Uh, yeah, yeah. The I'm game the three. Yeah, the preview. It's the Man City TV. What's it called? Yeah, which I enjoy watching it. Commentary on the Manchester City TV is great. The two gentlemen there, for instance, we have a LB see what he's about, but it's going to be a bit of us, and as he's probably is City. It's, you can't in game, but I do it anyway. So I'll probably have to. I do apologise. For instance, I did do a watch, not watch a talk about the last game against Burnley, but for some strange reason, YouTube never uploaded it. Why? I don't know. I'm still a bit naffed off about it. I got a notification I did because it was a review of the game. Yeah. Anyway, so we'll see. For instance, if this, I hope it's just for instance, where I shall to back me. What I'm thinking, I'll do better more content. I'll probably do a better, for instance, what do you call it? The organisation now, you know, yeah, just, game where I used to and having a chat about it. So, for instance, and what we can do. So, but because this city, I've got the blue sky. I've got the everything blue. For instance, over here we have the blue moon later on comes up. But I feel like going to the games, even though this isn't Brentford. There's nothing like being with the guys. I'm sure the City fans, if you're going down, big up to you. Enjoy the game. For instance, it's going to be going down to London. To think about Manchester, to think about it. Else, coming back. Yeah, otherwise, I will love you. Yeah, and it's a Manchester City up uh, with no tail. For instance, yeah. I'll you probably 3 points overall level against two now. Because tomorrow, hopefully, we'll draw level against Brentford, and then we got Everton. What's it called? Over at home. But hopefully, because they got two from Spurs, so that could feel the next game's based. But again, there was this talk, and for instance, Manchester City. For instance, we need lots of other teams. The LB saying, we've been down this before. We know what we need to do. We've known what we the way we are. For instance, and I think we don't need anybody else's help. It's in our court. We can do what we need. We can do what we've done. We've done it so many times before, for instance, and I believe they've got the squad to do it again. And that fourth, he's coming back to different. And yeah, and yeah, well, do something I know the team has done and well deserved. So, for instance, yeah, and it's really looking forward to it. So, good luck, Manchester City fans. Good luck to City, the club tonight, and everything. And I'll speak to you tomorrow. Okay, I'll probably have more bags under my eyes than I have now. But yeah, okay, yeah, okay, guys, love you. Bye.